She appeared out of nowhere, like a fragile shadow slipping through the cracks of a city that had learned how not to look down, and when Johnny Depp felt small fingers clutch his leg outside the glass and steel luxury hotel, time itself seemed to pause as the urban noise blurred into something distant and hollow, because standing there in the morning rush, surrounded by wealth, cameras, and hurried ambition, was a bald little girl whose grip carried fear, desperation, and a silent plea louder than any scream. And Johnny, a man who had spent decades pretending to be pirates and poets on screen, instantly recognized something painfully real in her eyes, something unfinished, something broken by a world that had moved too fast to care. When the angry shopkeeper's words spilled out like venom, accusing her of crimes she had never committed, Johnny didn't just hear cruelty. He heard a philosophy of modern life laid bare. The habit of judging survival as inconvenience, of mistaking poverty for guilt. And as the limousine rolled through the city streets, the image of that trembling child refused to loosen its grip on his conscience, because history has always taught the same lesson, from Dickens' orphan children to real-world humanitarian movements like Save the Children and St. Jude's Hospital, that societies are judged not by their monuments, but by how they treat their most vulnerable. And when Johnny found Sonia again, small, sick, begging not for money, but for help, the truth revealed itself not as drama but as moral clarity. Illness does not ask permission, cancer does not care about age, and childhood bravery is often born from necessity rather than choice. The hospital corridors, smelling of antiseptic and quiet fear, became a modern battlefield where privilege finally met responsibility, and when Johnny chose to cancel contracts, absorb penalties, and stay by Sonia's side, it wasn't heroism. It was ethical action, the kind philosophers like Kant and modern thinkers alike describe as moral duty, the understanding that doing good is not about applause but about presence. And as Sonia fought her fear before surgery, clutching a pirate coin like a talisman, the story quietly transformed into a lesson for English learners and life learners alike. Words like resilience, the ability to recover, compassion, active empathy, and integrity, doing right when it costs you, stopped being vocabulary and became lived meaning, because language is not learned only through grammar but through stories that touch the soul. When the surgery succeeded and hope returned not just to one child but to an entire orphanage promised renewal, the deeper message crystallized. Modern relevance is not about fame using charity as branding, but about influence becoming responsibility, wealth becoming stewardship, and success becoming service. And as children laughed in a hospital room that once echoed with fear, Johnny understood a truth older than cinema and newer than social media. Kindness is not dramatic, it is deliberate, and wisdom is not loud, it is consistent. And in a world obsessed with watching heroes on screens, the real transformation begins the moment someone chooses to see the invisible, because sometimes the most important thing a person can notice is not fame, illness, or poverty, but humanity itself.